I can't believe I'm going to say this again. Disney is being sued again. It's ridiculous. I had to create a playlist, which you can find right here, of all the times that Disney's been sued. And I'm going to point to that again here in just a little bit, just to remind you that that's up there. But I'm almost at a loss for words, and it is a lot because Disney does try to push their narrative so hard, and they get out in front of things in a way that maybe they shouldn't. They have a lot of very lackadaisical processes that are clearly leaving out some kind of an attorney that should be giving them advice about what to say and not say, or what to promote and not to promote in times when there's going to be intense scrutiny on you, such as right now when there's a proxy war. But I can't believe this is happening, and it's actually coming from a group that submitted their own slate of directors to add. And I'm not talking about Nelson Peltz. No. I'm not talking about the tree and management group that he's, in charge of. I'm talking about an entirely other element here. I think they're also called the green card. But let's dive into it. I think we should. Now, I'm always going to remind you at the beginning of these videos about my beachpunk.us website. I would love for you to check that out. It would be truly amazing if you did. There's all kinds of merchandise opportunities over there. There's some exclusive stuff now. We're going to have some specific members-only gear. We're going to launch the website officially that goes along with my channel, which will have all kinds of other amazing things on there, including some articles that I'll write from time to time, you name it. And I'm also going to put a schedule of appearances up. So be sure you check out beachpunk.us for those merchandise items. And as you see here, Disney investor Blackwells Capital sues the company as shareholder vote nears close, which actually happens at 11:59 p.m. on the 2nd, because obviously they'll be doing the votes on the 3rd when they're having the shareholders meeting. So it's going to be a long night for somebody, and we'll have to see what happens as a result of that. Setting that aside for now, though. So the media giant actually responded and calls the allegations baseless and desperate. We're going to go into the story. I've read several stories about this at this point. But the activist investor, and that just means they actively are involved in the management of the company, or at least, of their capital that they control. Blackwells Capital is suing the media giant over what it sees as an inappropriately cozy relationship with another shareholder, and you'll remember this name, Value Act Capital, which does have a little bit of money in Disney, not as much as others do, but they do have some money in there, and there does seem to have been a very interesting information sharing agreement that could be seen as inappropriate. And as such, the lawsuit was filed Thursday in Chancery Court. You can actually look at it. If you go to the Deadline article from yesterday, you can actually click on it here and read through it if you want to. I'm going to try to finish reading through it in its entirety because I want to be able to talk about it intelligently. But Blackwells lays out their concerns about whether Value Act has been paid to take a pro-Disney position. People could argue it's kind of looking like that could exist. So Blackwells and Tree and Fund Management have agitated for some fresh voices on the board of directors ahead of Wednesday's annual shareholder meeting. Well, you can't blame them. There's been a lot of underperformance of Disney despite a recent rise, which everybody seems to point to because they've been paying attention to this for exactly 5 minutes. But it's been longer that Disney had been on a slide, especially post-Iger return. The only reason that we've had a recent bounce in the price is because of the proxy war. That's my position I'm taking right now, because it certainly isn't because Disney's actually done anything. They've talked about a lot of things. They haven't done a lot of things. But let's get back to this. So here we are. So the lawsuit requests books and records, and this is dangerous, in order to determine whether wrongdoing, mismanagement, or breaches of fiduciary duty, including potential violations of disclosure obligations, under the federal securities laws, have taken place. Blackwells also maintains that Value Act managed Disney pension funds from 2013 to 2023. That's 10 years. a fact that Disney neglected to disclose when proclaiming Value Act's support. Yikes. So Blackwell's complaint is rooted in a January 3rd announcement by Disney when they announced that Value Act would support the company's board nominees and management, which means they really haven't done their due diligence. In exchange, the company said it would provide information to the investment firm and consult with Value Act on strategic matters. They went to somebody who's a little bit involved, a little bit invested in them to do this kind of a reciprocal arrangement. That's really interesting. So they're going to have meetings with the Disney board and management if you're Value Act. You're not seeming to get that with anybody else, and I think Blackwells and probably Trian have reason to complain. But a Disney spokesperson responded, and this is kind of the bigger update to this. Says the claims are baseless and describe the complaint as merely a desperate attempt to gain attention for their slate of director candidates. No Disney pension plan funds are currently, lawyer speak, currently invested with Value Act, nor were they managing any Disney pension plan funds. Very specific there, at the time of entering into an information sharing agreement with the company. Okay, but from 2013 to 2023, you had this, as Blackwells describes it, inappropriately close relationship and not disclosed. Very fascinating. Prior to Blackwells filing this litigation, Disney offered to meet with them and provide documentation confirming those facts, but Blackwells declined the meeting. Again, that's all from the spokesperson. I imagine that they really want these documents. They want to be able to make a stink. Can't blame them. They got really no traction on their proxy vote. This proxy seems to be something that's getting a lot of coverage, and just how far along Peltz is in progress towards a board seat. Seems like there's a lot of interest in him, less so in Jay Rasulo. But again, you have two, and we've talked about this in previous videos. You can go back the last couple of days and check it out. But in fact, you can check that out right up there. The last couple of videos. But those videos were focused on the fact that you have these proxy advisory companies that are actually throwing their support behind Peltz specifically. I think you get both Peltz and Rasulo. You get a little bit of a managed change in that board of directors, and you get rid of some people that are just sticking around for the paycheck. You gotta get that changed. You also get a bit of light shined on something, especially if there's something illegal going on, because at that point, you can speak on matters without being in breach of any agreement that you've signed, which you do when you join the board. So the legal clash comes after Blackwell's publicly backed chairman and CEO Bob Iger, which they did. Unlike Trian, which has traded blows with Disney and repeatedly aired its critiques, Blackwell's has reserved most of its ire for Trian and its leader, Nelson Peltz, even though it has proposed 3 alternate picks for the board, with significantly less holdings, by the way. So shareholders have already were casting votes, with tens of millions spent by Trian and Disney to promote their rival perspectives. You've seen that in the form of websites and presentations and things like that. Disney got some free publicity and press for their opinion, but it's very interesting. So, and here it is. Shareholders have until 11:59 p.m. Tuesday to cast ballots, with the results being revealed at the meeting. And Disney is chicken. They stopped doing these. They took advantage of what happened during the global crisis, and they've become very chicken to face their investors directly. But hey, this is where we're at. This is where we're going. This is where we will be. We will be learning of who gets to be on the board on the 3rd. We will be learning who had an effective campaign to, promote their side of the argument. All of that coming on the 3rd. Now, you will be watching those most likely, along with me. You'll be watching WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade on live streams that are going to be walking you through everything that's happening during this shareholders. On that note, if you're interested, that story is available on Deadline, and other places now are starting to cover it or have covered it. And of course, you can go to any of the business sites and find reporting on this as well. I'm curious what you think. Do you think we're going to end up with this Blackwells thing having any effect as we are here on Good Friday? Looking forward just a couple of days. I don't know. Do you think that Trinian has a chance of getting board seats? It's a good question. And do you expect to watch the live streams, which kind of feel like playoff games at this point, that we all get together and talk about these things? They're a lot of fun. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as I always say, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others. And until next time, see ya.